Welcome back to Alpine Garage Sports, folks. I am Chris. I am your host for this show. And today we're talking about Sav'ell Smalls. And I know you may have seen a video on this or maybe seen some news, and maybe you have not seen it at all. And we'll go into that a little bit more here in a second. He is an edge out of Washington. Now, this is a big deal because he's a five-star recruit out of high school. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Sav'ell and why he's going to make a big impact here, or why I believe he's going to make a big impact here. And then also, what does that do to our edge room that we already have going right now? So first, let's start out with the fact that through this big transfer portal back and forth that we've had over the past 10 days or so, the outcome for outgoing transfers is we lost 5 edges out of the group that we had. We also, and one of those was Taylor Upshaw. So then we also lost 5 defensive linemen as well. So we lost 10 people off of that line out of our coffers. So you know that Prime is focusing on this, and we have a lot coming in too. And right now our edge group actually looks pretty good. But the addition of Sav'ell Smalls is not a small thing. In fact, he was a 5-star recruit out of Washington. He decided to stay at home at Washington and played for Washington. Washington obviously did very well since he went there, and he was in the class of 2020. He was ranked number 3 defensive player out of the 2020 class. He was ranked the number 1 player out of Washington. He was ranked the number 30 overall player in the country. So this guy being a 5-star recruit going to Washington was a big deal to Washington. But oddly enough, they didn't really use him in the capacity that maybe he should have been used, and keep in mind that they have some pretty good edges at Washington. I mean, they had a great year last year. Or it just didn't work out for him there, and so now he has an opportunity here. But his high school film, pretty ridiculous. And for an edge, he is actually a bigger version of what a lot of edges are. So for instance, when I'm looking at some of these moves that he's making on some of these offensive linemen, he looks a little bit to me like Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is 6'3", 245. And Sav'ell Smalls is 6'3", 260. And keep in mind that he still has 3 years of eligibility left, so he has a lot of weight that he can put on if he wants to, but he doesn't have to. At 260, he's a pretty big guy for an edge. In fact, he is the biggest edge in the room that we have right now that I can see. What he brings to us is that he is an athlete, so he plays all sides of offense and defense. He played linebacker, he played tight end, he played wide receiver. You can see this in his huddle film, which is what I'm kind of playing over right now. But would we use him in that capacity? That's the question. If you look at let's go into our edge group here, and we're going to kind of see what we have. So right now we have 7 total edges that are committed to Colorado, and that includes people that were already here, people who have transferred in, and people who are expecting. And that includes Sav'ell now too. So that is not a small room. That actually gives us quite a little bit of depth there. And honestly, we're in better shape at edge than we are on the defensive line. So the defensive line is obviously where we are going to be putting most of our effort in trying to find transfers. But look at these big names that we have in edge still. So we still have Jordan Dominic from Arkansas. So he was tied for sacks in the SEC last year. And he had a great year. And he's 6'3", 250. So he's going to be relatively the same size as Sav'ell. But Sav'ell does have him a little bit on size. We also have De'Vion Harris, who is 6'2", 233, so a little smaller guy, but super fast. Out of Old Dominion, played for Minnesota, I believe, as well. 56 tackles and 5 sacks and 2 interceptions in 23 games in his career through Minnesota and Old Dominion. So he's got a lot of experience. So this guy will bring a lot to us. And, of course, we can't leave out Derek McClendon because he is probably one of the biggest transfer portal guys that we've pulled from FSU this season. And he goes 6'4", 245, so a little taller than Smalls, a little lighter than Smalls. If you haven't seen him in FSU, he did a great job there. 61 tackles and 7 sacks. And let's not forget Jeremiah Brown from JSU, 6'2", 220 pounds, super quick. And he had 53 tackles and 7 sacks at JSU. So we're talking about a pretty stellar edge group with those 4 guys, plus you add Sav'ell in there as well. We still have Joshka Gustav and Tristan Maroy in that set as well, plus we also have Taj McCoy. So we have 7/8, depending on redshirt status, in the edge group right now. And, I mean, are we going to go after yet another edge after this? Now, we don't have another edge listed in the 20 or so players that we're going after at this point. But who knows, another edge might slide in there. Here's a good question you want to ask about Sav'ell Smalls. He's an athlete and he likes to go both ways. would we be able to slide him in at tight end, which would probably use the help there, or because we have 6 other guys that can flex in and out at that edge. So there is an opportunity there probably. When I first looked at Sav'ell, I thought, man, he would just be a great, let's just keep him as an edge and let him get all of his reps there. That way, you know, that's a very physical, that's one of the most physical defensive positions. To have to go and be a tight end and block and stuff like that as a tight end, I don't know that that would necessarily be something that would be fruitful in Power 5 football. But if he were to maybe pull a little less reps on the edge and play a little bit more offense, he's a big body at 6'3", 260. He would make a great option for Shedeur on that offensive line. So it's exciting to see him come and round out this whole edge group. Now I'm going to put a check mark on this and say I think edge is complete. There, now we got to focus on defensive tackle, and that will be coming up in another video. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today, folks. I really appreciate your support. If you haven't already commented, please get down in the comments and let me know whether or not you think he should play both ways or should he settle on edge. And we could have probably one of the best defenses in all of college football when you consider our secondary that we have coming in as well. And by the way, guys, this is 3 5-stars that we've pulled out with Sav'ell, with Travis Hunter, and with Cormani McLean. We've got 3 5-stars on this team. I mean, this is very similar to very good Power 5 schools. So who knows what can happen this year. We definitely are going to have the talent, and the coaching looks like it's going to pan out. So let's get in there and let's get some practices in and see what we can get done with this thing and make a push this year. That stated, we will be doing more on this in the next few days. I'll see you in the next video, and if you haven't already heard, we coming.